The time is now.
Hey, good morning.
Hey,
Welcome once again to NUFC
morning.
Talk TV with myself, the Geordie Yam Yam, and we got the mighty win, Derek, alongside me. Obviously, we are here for the presser. It's nice to see the back of the internationals, if I'm honest with you. That's just my opinion, if I'm honest. I've seen in the chat already, there's people not very happy about some of the pricing of our clothing. That's come out now. Some of the retro stuff.
There was a new range came out today, wasn't there?
That's right, yeah, and apparently it's sold out already. So T-shirt was 50 quid, trainers 110 quid, according to Kenny.
Well, if you're not happy with the price, what do?
Don't pay for it. Don't pay for it.
Don't pay them. Dead simple.
Exactly. Simple. Wait till it goes to China.
No, it's as far as I'm concerned, it's a luxury item. Anything
That's right.
They're selling there is a luxury item, and you've either got the money and choose to buy it, or you haven't got the money and can't buy it, as with a lot of things in life. You know, you might want a Maserati a motor car, but if you can't afford it, you can't have it.
That's true, matey. That's true.
And so I've got, all the weeping and wailing about price of football. Yeah, what you got to realise is commercially, the reason Adidas are paying us £40 million a year for us to go and buy footballers and pay their salaries is because they want to make money selling their gear.
Selling the gear, of course it is.
And when you're getting paid as much as we are, they're entitled to make their pound of flesh.
The problem is, you see, it's like, you know, they class it as limited edition for a lot of it, and it is a sell, if you like. Because it pulls people in, doesn't it? When you put limited edition, we know, I mean, you know, the hoodie that I've got now, which actually buries me because I've lost so much weight, I probably won't wear it again, but, you know, I've got it, you know what I mean? And that's like a lot of my Newcastle stuff. To be fair, a lot of the old shirts that I'd bought were still in the cellophane. 30 years old, you know what I mean? And that's what it is. Sometimes, you know, like this shirt. I mean, I've just seen Kev has put in. He loves this shirt. This was one of my faves. But when I went into the attic and because I'd lost all the weight, I realised I could get back into the shirts that I'd bought years ago, and literally wanted to do something similar to what Chris does. You know, just use a wall in a room. The problem is, virtually every house I've had, because of the size of my family, I've never really been able to display them. And yet, you know, behind me now, because we've got our new studio set up, I was thinking about doing something similar. But obviously, I think I prefer this. I don't know what's the matter with your camera, but on the TV, you're looking rather pixelated, my friend. I don't know why. I'll tell you what, while I do the housework, you sort your camera out. So welcome to all watching across the platforms. Thanks to everybody that works in the background. Don't forget, people out there in viewerland, it's most important for us, smash that like button. It just helps us get further as a channel to other supporters. Subscribe, it's totally free. Hit that bell again for future reference. We do content virtually every single day of the week, sometimes twice a day. So if you hit that bell, you'll get a 30-minute notification to say we're going live. We're always live, we're never edited. If you want to support the channel, you can become a member. There's only now one option, I believe. I think Chris has taken the other one off. So it just stops the confusion. The one option gets you all of the content that we do, members only content, as well as the shows. If you've got a question for me or Win during the show, then obviously try and put a Q in front of that question. It just helps us highlight it in the chat. Like I say, there's lots of chat going on, a lot of it amongst yourselves. But if you want to throw something towards us, put a Q there. We'll do our best to mention it, but it ain't guaranteed. So if you want to guarantee it, then follow the $sign. Throw us a Talk TV super chat. and that will guarantee your message read out live on air. All members that become a member through the show, any of our lovely members that gift them out there, will also be highlighted and thanked as we go. And if you do want to come on board, there is always the option of jumping on board with the Prediction League. Like I say, there is 7 games gone now, but there isn't. We're not that far away. You can join for a £5 entry fee. You like I say, you predict every single Newcastle match going forward. The top 6 get a prize, and I think at the minute, Jamie's top of the league with 20 points. Am I right, Win?
Yep, that's spot on. I'm not sure about the 20 exactly, but
it's around about 20 points. And like I say, that's 20 points. If you think you get 5 points for predicting the right score, as you can imagine, it's difficult. So if you're interested, there's still the option to come on board. I know we're probably a little bit far into the league now, but entirely up to yourselves. So there you go. And Win's got the
so I thought I would take the opportunity to bang mine on as well. But,
yeah, look at that.
Where's your ASICS badge? I've just noticed the difference.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you see, because mine was, again, the limited edition, I didn't have the badge because you could...
yours isn't from the era?
No. Right. Mine was the limited, and because you could have the badges on the side or anything like that, I didn't want any badges because I wear mine like as a shirt. If you got me, so I didn't want it as a sports shirt. I didn't want the McEwen's lager either because mine's embossed. Is yours embossed, or is it just a sticker?
No, it's embossed, but it's not embroidered.
No, it's embossed, isn't it?
It's embossed.
Yeah, but I didn't want the what's the name badge at all.
This is the proper shirt from the time.
From the time, yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's it is like I say. If you Gary, a Chinese special, the badge fell off in the wash. You see, yours looks purple on the screen. Mine looks blue,
which is bright blue.
Yeah, yours is bright blue. That's what I said. It looks purple. Yeah, Kenny W. Gary, a Chinese special. The badge fell off. You couldn't get them when I bought this, to be fair. You couldn't get them. There was no such thing as the Chinese special. But I mean, like I say, you do, again, from in and around the Midlands, trying to find Newcastle attire. I think I did buy mine, I believe. I'm trying to think when I bought it. Probably around about 2011. Which was, I think, the last season that I had my season ticket, and when I was up in Newcastle, and they were doing certain shirts. I don't know whether I went to the market. You've got like the I can't think of his name now. He's just got a shop set up. When you go to the markets like we did when we went to the. And I think I bought mine. If memory serves me,
shops in there.
I think I bought mine from one of the
shops, but
from one of the racks off there. So and I saw it because it hadn't got all the badges on. I liked it, if I'm honest. But I mean, I must admit the way I look at some of these clothing now, these clothing items, I do wonder why people want to go and spend 100 and some odd pounds on an item of clothing these days, especially if it's something that you're only going to wear at the match.
On a pair of trainers, how rare, man!
Hey, that's cheap though, Win. In today's market, that's cheap.
I've got, Skechers.
Yeah,
that everybody raves about.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they are now, but I got 2 pairs of Skechers. With everything but the badge, for $7.99 a pair.
Really?
On Temu. And they're as good. And I've worn one pair off my feet for nearly a year now. The only shoes I ever wear.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Unless there's snow on the ground.
Yeah, talking about the shirts. Everybody was limited to 5 items per customer, apparently.
Per basket.
And according to Form, everything was sold out within 2 or 3 minutes. Everything. So watch eBay get absolutely emaciated now with clothes, because that's what people are doing. All at inflated prices. I mean, it was inflated prices
Right.
at Newcastle.
Okay. So just imagine that happens. The club aren't daft. The club will see that happening,
Yeah, yeah.
and if they see that gear exchanging hands at a higher price than face value, they'll say, "Whoa, hey, well, we've missed the trick here. Let's raise the price. We know it sells
Yeah,
at that
absolutely.
price."
Yeah, yeah. And according, I'm just having a quick look. The smock top, £389. The Adidas, SBZL, the FC Smock. This is a brand new one, 343. So they're already out there. £312 for the other Smock Tock. It's crazy.
What
It
the hell's
really
a
is crazy.
smock talk?
The smock tocks are the it's the cloth material. It's like the when you throw it's like a coat, if you like, but it's like a hoodie that you throw over your head.
So it's an outdoor coat,
Yeah, it's a smock jacket,
like a barber or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But it's like I say, it's one that you throw over your head. But they are crazily expensive, and like I say, everything is sold out.
So is
Completely
this the tranche of gear that's come out, which has got the retro, my maroon top?
Yeah.
Has
I'm,
it
I'm
got
just
that?
gonna put it on the screen now so you can see it. There you go. It's completely sold out, and it's mental, absolutely mental. But like I say, I think a lot of it will be on eBay very, very soon, if I'm honest. Right, well, we are obviously still waiting to see what's happening at the presser. There's nothing as of yet, so we'll keep an eye on that. Just make sure that we don't miss out on anything. And literally after the show, obviously, we were still online well into the early hours trying to sort out the background and make sure that we are ready for this morning, because Chris, bless him, who's usually running the presser, he's had to go to work early. I mean, it must have been really early for him.
Oh, I've just realised I went out, didn't I, and came back in, so I'm...
Yeah. So you are just looking at the icons. Collection is reflecting culture that surrounds the beautiful game, according to Newcastle. Apparently, they're the that's what they said, available online, which was only 22 minutes ago, and it's completely sold out. Everything is sold out, and that was, like I say, before they even went on. It was a for me a pointless exercise, if I'm honest with you. But we had the show last night,
But
and
does it, by the way, it also shows very, very bad marketing and very, very bad, market research and whatever for them to have unless it's a ploy. Unless it's a ploy to make it.
Kenny's just said there that he only saw 5 items. I think what they've done is they've issued this smock system with the old badge on. And I don't know whether they're testing the water, because I was under the impression there was lots of T-shirts and jumpers, things like that coming out, especially for the Christmas period. You know what I mean? For me, it's an ideal scenario if you've got family that are massive Toon fans. And that's why I was prompting my missus. Oh, there's a new line coming out, and I kept on dropping the hint, but she never got it. And I kept on thinking, one of us is going to look at it. But again, I'm not sure whether I wanted to spend that type of money on something that I'll probably very rarely wear, if I ever wear it. You know what I mean? Because for me, that them type of jackets aren't. It's not a winter coat. It's not a summer coat. I mean, I know we have autumn 7 months a year, and probably a cold spring. So you probably get some wear out of it. but I wouldn't certainly pay the prices that they were asking for it. But I was going to go on and talk about the discussion that we all had last
My
night.
God, the Geordies loves the merch.
Yeah, exactly.
Increase his sponsor money, says Geordie Dan in his Baltimore accent.
We've I saw that Craig Hope. I was just crikey. The fans. Lee Ryder took a photograph of the queue outside the club shop. They'd been there for 10 hours waiting for the trainers and these smock tops, apparently. So the chances of getting anything was slim anyway online.
Well, I think that'll probably be a different stock. But bear in mind, if you buy it from the club shop, the club make more money off it.
Absolutely. And I was just looking at what Craig Hope had put at 9:30 when we were live. Craig Hope updated his saying that Newcastle has now signed the player that we were talking about last night, even though we were doing his confidential, saying that they're hoping. So obviously he was watching the show. Oh dear. You can wish. Of course it does, mate. Of course it does. That's what I said. You know, it's just a shame we don't get paid anywhere near the money he's on.
It's a shame we don't get paid.
I'm going to say, yeah, not for doing this anyway. But it does. But I'm just looking, Roger. I might have one or two meals beast. Oh, there you go. I'm not sure what they're all having a chat about. The clothing items, I think, in the chat there. So welcome on board, everybody. I hope you're having a lovely morning.
Still nothing happening over there.
Nothing.
Yet.
No, nothing at all.
It's nothing on the feed, which doesn't necessarily mean the same thing.
Yeah. I'm just looking at Sean McCormick. He was a Chronicle guy, and he's took a photo of the presser, and like I say, it's empty seats at the moment. There's nobody in there, so I'm just trying to. Yeah, I'm trying to remember that there was a. We were doing the funnies yesterday daytime.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember who was the guy. There was a challenge, and I remember him turning to like have a go at the opposite player, and then one of our players blasted the ball towards the guy who clobbered him to try and get the ball, aimed at him, and blasts our player in the face. I can't remember his bloody name now. And I wanted to save it because we wanted to make it as part of our funnies, but it doesn't do it.
Apparently the presser has started.
Well, let's. Oh yeah, it's just come on. Yeah, it's just coming on.
Oh, there we go.
You want to bring it up?
Yeah. Quiet, folks.
How you doing?
Morning.
Good morning. Morning. You all right, Craig? Good morning. Good morning. How are you? You all right?
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Ahead of the trip to Brighton tomorrow. Same order as usual. We'll start with Matthew, please.
Good morning, Eddie.
Morning.
Firstly, you've had a number of players away on international duty as usual. As far as you know, has everybody come back okay and no new injuries from international?
Yeah, I think everyone's come back okay. We were a little bit concerned over Joe Linton, but he seems to have come back okay. And hopefully, he'll train today.
And I think after the Nottingham Forest match, you said Jacob Ramsey had a couple of training sessions. So what are the prospects of him being fully fit and available for this weekend?
Yeah, JJ had a couple of training sessions and trained well, but we didn't want to push him too early because of his lack of training time. He's trained in the break and looked good. Pleased with where he is currently.
And before the international break, you updated us on Johan Wisser and said it would be probably a couple more weeks for him. Is that still the case, and are you hoping that it will be early next month when he's fit and available again?
Yeah, so we've seen Johan back on the grass, which is the first time on the grass, which is great to see, and I think his knees reacted pretty well to that work so far. So it would now be a case of trying to step him up gradually. In terms of timelines, similar to what I said last time, I get confused with the dates as where we were, but nothing's changed.
This is the first opportunity we've had to speak to you since the appointment of a new sporting director a few days ago. Why is Ross Wilson, do you think, the perfect man for that job?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've known Ross for a number of years, but like many people in his role, it's sort of a fleeting, hi, how are you? And you don't get to know them on any depth, on any level. So someone that's been, around the game for a long time. He's had various jobs and done really well from the outside. But of course, working with him now, it will be interesting to see how our relationship develops. First impressions of him and his work is very good. Firstly, just a really good person. He's fitted in really well so far, and he's met all the players and all the staff, and seems a really positive person. I'm sure he can make a huge difference.
How involved were you in the process of bringing him here?
No, I wasn't overly involved. Of course, I wasn't totally away from the process, but I wasn't heavily involved in it. But certainly, I back Ross's appointment, and I hope we can work together really well and bring further success.
And why is it such a key role now in modern football in terms of the structure of a football club, but also helping a manager like you run things?
Well, I think it's such a big organisation now, any football club, that you need strong leadership through the football club, and there's so much to do. You look at, contract lengths and transfers, and there's so much work going on behind the scenes that I can only be across a certain part of it. And my main job is to coach the team and make sure the team's ready to play at the weekends. And then behind that, there's, as I say, a body of work going on to make sure that we recruit the right players, that we have the right systems in place to improve the football club on every level.
And lastly, about Brighton, your opponents away from home this weekend. You must still have pretty strong memories of the match there at the end of last season, and it was a curious second half with 3 penalties awarded, a couple of them overturned, but the one that you scored ended up being so crucial, didn't it, in qualifying for the Champions League? Yeah,
when you look back, that point at the time was maybe a frustrating one for us, but in the end it turned out to be valuable. I actually thought we played really well on the day. It's one of our better performances against Brighton. Team that I think we always have tough games against. I think they're very well managed and coached. I think we've got some really good players. But on that day, we were disappointed not to win. But that's why you should never turn your nose up at any point in the Premier League. That was precious for us.
Thanks, Reza. Keith?
Hi, Eddie.
Hi.
You mentioned Jacob Ramsey there. Do you expect him to travel tomorrow? Will he be in the squad?
Yeah, expect him to be with us, yeah.
And how's Lewis Hall? I know you said the last time we spoke he had a second scan. How's his situation?
Yeah, the second scan was good news. So there was different scales of time he could be out. It's the shorter time, so we think we hope he'll be back during this period of games we have before the next international break. We don't know exactly when that will be, but we expect him to, if he doesn't suffer any ill effects from anything that he's doing, to be back at some stage. As I said from the first scan, that might not have been possible. So good news. He's such an important player for us, and hopefully we can keep him fit.
I guess you were pleased over the international break, not just to get the lads back fit and healthy by the sounds of it, but a couple of them on the score sheet as well. That'll do the confidence a world of good.
Yeah, I always think the international games it's interesting. You always get a different players coming back in different trains of thought and in different moods with different successes, and I think it's been really positive for some. Anthony Gordon's goal, I thought, and performances were really good, and it's great to see Bruno carry on his good form. I think every cap at international level for any player is valuable and is precious, and congratulations to all the guys that went away and did that.
You've now got 7 games in the next 22 days before the next international break. You know, you don't have a free midweek. How do you manage the situation, particularly at centre forward, where you don't have a a huge amount of options at the moment with Johan's injury?
I think we continue to take it on a game-by-game basis. We look at the fitness and form of all the players. I think we have a few options. Willis has done very well when he's come onto the pitch. He's nursing a slight ankle injury at the moment, so he's not, I'd say, 100% training with us in every moment. But I'd say when he steps on the pitch, he will be fit. Of course, Anthony Gordon's played up there. So we do have options. But of course, we would welcome Johan to be fit and available and share that load with Nick. But so far, Nick's carried that burden really well, I think.
And just finally, I know you were speaking about Ross a moment ago, but given everything you went through in the summer and how frantic it was, just how happy are you to have a sporting director to take some of the load away?
Yeah, I've said I've always want that position filled. I think it's such an important position for the long-term planning. You know, I'm working day by day. You're working training sessions. The long-term planning is difficult in that moment for me. So you need someone who can do that away from the stress and emotion of every day, really. And I think Ross will be a great addition, along with David, the CEO, and you know he's come in and made a really big impression as well. So I think I said many months ago, strong leadership is important on all those positions, and now thankfully they're filled.
Thanks, Keith. Andy?
Morning, Eddie. Just on Lewis Holt, really positive news, obviously, but it's another injury from him. It was a frustrating end to last season too. How is he doing with the frustration of just picking up these knocks, these injuries quite frequently?
Yeah, difficult for him because I think he's very motivated to play. He's got big aims this season. He wants to do really well, as he did last season. I think sometimes it's a natural occurrence. Unfortunately, when you get one injury, sometimes you do pick up other little minor injuries off the back of that until you get your body fully adjusted to the training and the games that we're playing at such a high level, so high intensity as well for him. But I think this is a really minor injury, but one hopefully that can serve as a good thing, really, so he can let his other issues settle down and he can then go from strength to strength. As I said, he's such an important player. We're going to miss him because he brings that technical quality and those attacking qualities from the fullback positions. And, of course, we're missing Tino as well, so they're two big players.
You mentioned Anthony Gordon before. What's the last few weeks said about Anthony's character coming into such good form after there were, a few question marks over him?
Yeah, he's had I think actually a really good start to the season. You take away the red card, obviously, and then the 3-game ban, which came at a time when we didn't have midweek games, so it seemed like a long time before he was back. He obviously started the season in the centre-forward role. I thought he did well there without necessarily putting the cherry on the cake by scoring. But I think his all-round performances have been good. He's been in a good place mentally, and he's carried that form into the England team. Thought he played really well. Great to see him score, and that'll only boost him further.
You're, of course, a manager who loves to coach. How much are you enjoying the challenge of, pick your word, reinventing, reshaping the Newcastle United attack at the moment, you and the coaches?
Yeah, I think we see that as sometimes a natural evolution anyway. You don't want to be delivering the same work every season. That means you're not evolving, you're not changing. So I think this is forcing us to look at it slightly differently, to see if we can find solutions to, I won't say problems, but just different players. And I think that's exciting. I'm excited by what I'm seeing about the team at the moment in terms of what we can be in the future. And now we've got to try and work towards that.
Just finally, I know you're into your music. Good news last night. For Sam Fender, just wondered your reaction to him winning the Mercury Music Prize last night.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was all across it, but massive congratulations to Sam. I know that's a big award. I have to say he's very, very popular in our dressing room. His music's playing all the time, so as a consequence, I've become very accustomed to his voice and his work, and I think he's outstanding.
Thanks, Ed. Thank you. Nisha?
Morning, Eddie.
Morning.
You'll be aware you've drawn all 3 of your Premier League games, away games, 0-0. It's a strange thing because obviously there's a lot going right to not concede, but you want that firepower. Just how are you managing that?
Yeah, I'm not obsessing over that. I think that's, as you say, there's a lot of good in that. And when you go away from home and you're solid and you've got a good defensive structure, I think that's a really positive thing. Of course, we're frustrated that we haven't performed better in front of goal away from home. But I back the players and I back the team, and I know we will come good in that respect. What we can't lose is the solid foundation.
And how is Tino Livramento getting on with his recovery?
So far, so good, I think, for Tino. He's out of the brace that he was in. Every time I speak to him, he seems positive about his return. So I don't think there'll be any massive changes to the time frame that he was given, but I think he's moving in the right direction.
When we see Dan Burn kind of moving back to left back, having been centre half, how does, I mean, he is a centre half, I guess, but how does he find playing at left back and going back to playing there?
I think Dan will do anything for the team. I think he's always had that mentality. So whatever the team needs, Dan will do his best to deliver that. I think he's done really well because it's not easy. He had a big change of position, mainly physically. The physical demands at centre half, as I know only too well, when I played at fullback, that was it was a big shift. You know, you have to go through the gears. You have to do a lot more running. But I think he's got the physical capability to do it. But of course, there's a slight adjustment to the training and, as I say, the outputs that you give. But a really good start for him back in that position. And the team's function well with him there.
Thank you. We've got Damien and then Mark Douglas, please.
Morning, Eddie.
Morning.
You mentioned Nick Voldemada earlier. Given that he's come to a new league and a lot to learn about his role in the team, are you surprised at how much he's delivered already in that position?
I'm surprised, no. I think whenever you sign a player for that kind of transfer fee, and not that the transfer fee's related to him, but there's a belief there we think he can be a really good player for us, and there's a belief that we think he can perform and make a difference. I think it's always then about the speed of how that can transfer into the team, and I think he's been excellent at coming into a new league with all the change that comes with that, not just on the pitch but off the pitch, and just being really, really settled in his work. He's really focused on the training. He looks like he really enjoys it. It looks like he loves being here with his teammates, and from that side of things, I think his teammates appreciated him really quickly as well, and it's making sure he feels confident when he enters the pitch and he's able to deliver what he needs to do, and so far so good, and yeah, long may that continue.
And just on Johan, at that time scale, you're going to have him back fit in a few weeks, and then you've got the African nations looming. Is that a concern for you?
Yeah, I think just one step at a time. I think for us, I think let's just focus on getting him fit and available first. I think that's all we can do. Medical team have been working really hard with him. I know he's absolutely desperate to get out and play and show his worth. There's no doubting his qualities. But yeah, I think just one step at a time.
Thank you. Mark?
Hi, Eddie. With Ross, David, and obviously you've got technical director there now as well, would you say you were happier with the structure now than maybe 12 months ago? Do you feel happier with things moving forward?
I don't know about happier. I just think happy that we have those positions filled, because we need that. As I said, the long-term planning, the decision-making at board level, and everything that the club decides for the future trickles down. But I just think we've got strong leadership, we've got dynamic leadership, and hopefully we can benefit from that all through the football club.
Have you already had meetings with him this week about things moving forward, contracts, transfers, that kind of thing, or is that come later?
Yeah, no, we've had meetings. Yeah, I mean, the transfers, no, not yet. I think I'll let him sit down and just get used to his new surroundings before bombarding him with that. But I think, no, we will have time, of course, for all those key decisions and meetings that we need to, and strategic planning for the future. But at the moment, I think it's important he just gets to know the staff, the players, and gets an idea of how everything works. And then, of course, he can make changes as he sees fit to take everything forward and make it better.
Thanks, Mark. We've got to Chris, Gary and Louise, please.
Just on that, Eddie, Mark mentioned technical director there. What has Suds done since he's come in? What's his sort of impact in his role at the club?
I think it's difficult for me to sort of tell you too much, because I'm not across that. I'm got so much more to worry about than sort of any individual person. So Ross will take a leadership of that role and make sure that everything's functioning. I think you'll understand I'm not across everyone in that area.
You've spoken before, though, about data and sort of the need that's really going forward a huge part of the growth within this club. Is that something that you still believe in, and where can that make the difference going forward?
Yeah, massive. The way we recruit players, I think, is only going to go more based towards data. modern trends are such. I think you've got to follow them. You've got to be on top of it. But I think the key thing with data, it has to be your data. It has to be spoke to your team, your club. I don't think you can copy anybody else. And I think that's the challenge for us, is to try and create that ourselves. And Suds, and no doubt whoever else is employed to do that will lead that charge under Ross's leadership.
Thanks, Chris. Gary?
Morning, Eddie.
Morning.
Just ahead of Dan's return to Brighton tomorrow, I know you'll be loath to pick out a best sign you've made, but I think you'll be able to agree he's been worth every penny of the 30 million you paid for him, hasn't he?
Dan Burn?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Dan, I thought you said 30 then. So that's why I hesitated. I was like, God, that's lumpy. 13, did you say? Yeah. Well, no, he genuinely probably was. You know, if when you look at value for money and what he's given the club, absolutely he has been. But at the time when we signed Dan, that was a key signing. We needed someone that could bring leadership and experience to the back line, winning mentality, etc. But we were in a relegation battle. You know, we needed players that then wanted to come, and of course Dan had links to the area and links to the club and wanted to come home. So it turned out to be an amazing transfer, and as you say, he's been worth every penny, and some more, for what he's given and what he continues to give. And he's a really inspiring character. I love the fact he's been rewarded on the international stage. It's great to see a good person and a good character be rewarded in that way. And yeah, now he's got to keep going, and he's got to keep seeing what else he can achieve here.
Just on Johan, I don't know if you saw Alan Shearer's comments yesterday. He was saying you want him to not go to AFCON, concentrate on Newcastle. I just wondered, do you want him to stay here as well?
Yeah, that's a conversation and a topic that I'm not going to get involved in. I don't think that's fair for Johan. So I haven't seen Alan's comments, but yeah, I think that's one I'll stay away from.
Thanks, Gary. Louise?
Morning, Eddie.
Morning.
Now, this actually might be more of a question for Lee.
Get in there. Happy days. Thanks, Louise.
We're playing Marseille away at the end of November. Now, Ajax, in the last game at the start of October, their fans were banned by from travelling by the authorities in Marseille with 3 days' notice, which is obviously very tight. Are you concerned that there's something like that might be repeated, and are you in negotiations with Marseille about this, or is it not an issue?
I think the only thing we can do, Louise, is go off the information we have, which is our fans are, at this moment in time, are permitted to travel. And there's very clear instructions from the authorities in Marseille about when they do travel. So we'll stick to that, and we'll let you know if there's any change.
Thank you. That's great. Thank
Nice
you.
one.
Thank you.
Yeah, please.
We'll go to...
Let's do this.
Luke, Jordan, and then Lee, please. Luke, one for Eddie, please.
No, I'm not. I've turned my mic on now as well. Contracts. It's going to be a big topic. It's a big talking point at the moment. The three that sort of leap out are Tino, Sven, and Sandro Tonali, and then you've got Kieran Trippier and Fabian Schär. Is there any progress on that? Have talks started with any of those players about new deals?
And as far as I know, I think that was one that probably was waiting for Ross, a sporting director, to come in and take the lead on that. I think these conversations will all be led by Ross, and of course I'm sure he's all over that, and looking into the contract length of all the players and then starting conversations accordingly. But if there's any news on any of those players, I'll update you.
You've been here almost 4 years now. This will be your third sporting director that you've worked with. I'm not saying that
Going through them.
You are quite demanding. Does it feel like a new sort of era that I hate the word project, but this kind of growth of Newcastle, it has moved into a new era with this new management structure in place?
Yeah, possibly a new era, in a sense that Ross, I'm sure, will have his own ideas and way of working that he'll want to stamp across the football club. But I don't know if you can look at it in terms of sporting director eras. I think it's more ownership, really, that will set that era apart. And I think it's been a hugely successful period under PIF and the ownership that we have. And yeah, looking forward to working with Ross and trying to move things forward and trying to improve everything that we deliver for the players, really.
Slightly curveball question. I don't know if you saw the fake news story about Joe Willock getting lost in a maze, and it went viral and was seen by millions and millions of people. It's completely made up, but it was even discussed on Radio 1. How is Joe about that, and have you discussed it with him?
Yeah, I did discuss it with him, just to check whether it was true or not. Probably like everybody else, but this is sort of right in the early stages of it. Thankfully, it wasn't. But no, Joe's fine. He's good. I think he's got the ability to laugh with it rather than be concerned by it.
Thank you.
Is Frank not in today, Luke?
He's not. He's normally sits at the back.
Fair enough. Jordan?
You mentioned Joe Linton at the start. What is his issue, or what was his issue?
Sorry, Jordan.
Joe Linton at the start.
Oh, Joe Linton. Yeah, well, we were led to believe that there was an issue with his groin, but I think he's come back and said he's fine.
And last time you went to South Coast, you rested both Joe Linton and Bruno. Are you considering that tomorrow, given the distance they've travelled over the past week?
Yeah, I think it's always difficult, especially you look at the length of journeys that they've had in this international window, especially poor Joe, who had to turn round and start his journey again, unfortunately. So, but we'll make an assessment on how they look physically and how they train today, and then make the decision on the team.
Thank you. Lee Ryder?
Eddie, the international breaks are going to change next season. Is that a good thing for you, that you can have like a 3-week break in September and then it sort of picks up from there?
I think we'll worry about that when it comes around. I think there's a long time between then and now, but I don't know. I quite like the concept of it. I think the breaks stop momentum, and I think if you're in a good place, you don't want the break. If you're not in a good place, probably the break comes at a good time. So I think that's dependent on where you are at that moment. But I'd probably like to keep going and not have the stop-start nature at the start of the season.
And you've got sort of 3 home games coming up after Brighton. I know you go each game as it comes, but this month could really shape the season and put you in a really good place going into a long, hard winter.
Yeah, I think this group of games we have, I mean, it was said earlier how many games we have in a really short period of time. It's going to be potentially a defining period for us because we go from various competitions. We want to be progressive and improving throughout. This is going to be a key stage for us. But they're all key games. You know, every stage of the season's important. But this is certainly going to set us up one way or the other, and we need to be as aggressive as we can and try and take points.
Thanks, Lee. Got a Dominic, Craig, and then to Kieran, please.
Morning, Eddie.
Morning.
Just back on Johan Wissa, there's often a lot of speculation and concern surrounding knee injuries in particular. Just what exactly is his injury and how is it being managed to get him back and in the best possible condition?
Yeah, well, I think he's been managed by the physio team and the doctors really well so far. He's responded well to the treatment. I think the specialist initially gave him a diagnosis of 6 to 8 weeks, and he's on track for that. So we were obviously trying to work towards the 6, but it looks like it's going to be more towards the 8, as I said before. But there's been no issues. I know there's been a lot of media noise around his injury, but a lot of that's been false information. So we're just working towards that timescale.
And just what is the actual injury?
It's a PCL injury.
Cheers. And Sandro Tonali played on with a knock for Italy the other night. Is he back and is he okay for Saturday?
Yeah, he comes back today, so we'll see him today for the first time. But yeah, fingers crossed he's fine.
Thank you. Craig?
Eddie, if you rewind a year, a lot of the tone and the nature of the question and conversations we had with you were very different with regards to the structure at the club and where you were in relationships. A year on, do you feel happier now? Do you feel more content with that?
Yeah, years a long time, and it's difficult to go back a year, and I probably don't need to do that. I think let's just focus on the future. I'm really happy with the appointments that have been made. I'm really happy with how everything looks behind the scenes at the football club. I think we've got a strong group of people that are very ambitious and determined to try and take everything forward. And I think all I ever ask for is support and is help to. It's a challenging job, and you just need support and help to try and take take the leaps forward that we need, and we need to, because every other club is so progressive. We need to be the same, and I think we've got a good chance of delivering that now.
Let's get a quick question as well, just on your two centre halves who are playing there at the moment. As a former centre half yourself, how much better are they than you? And are you surprised that Sven Botman is uncapped, and Malik Chow as well? We spent a lot of time talking about Nick Voltemata as a German, but there was real surprise that Malik Chow wasn't part of that squad this break.
Yeah, you've given me a tough one there, Craig. Compare them to me. No, you can't. Well, firstly, just look at the height of me and look at the height of them. I mean, it's a tough call for me. But they have all the attributes. I think that's the key thing. They do have the height, the strength, the power, but also the technical ability. They can do everything, if you're talking about Sven and Malik in particular. I think they're really good users of the ball as well. So I think that's hugely important in the game that we want to play. In terms of Malik's international and Sven's international, they're such high-quality players. I think I'm always surprised when they're not involved with their national teams. That there's different reasons behind both, and you have to understand that. But I'm sure long-term that's a big aim for both players, and I'm sure if they continue to play as they are, they're going to get those call-ups.
Thanks, Rick. Kieran?
Maureen, you mentioned Joe Linton had to turn around again. I think Bruno said his journey took 30 hours. What was that like from your perspective when you were learning about that? Were they in the air when they were telling you this, or...?
It wasn't too bad from my perspective. Yeah, I did. Yeah, they weren't texting me mid-air, which disappointed me, actually. I'd rather have known instantly, but I found out a little bit later on. But it's not ideal for those guys. I mean, when they're playing in Brazil, obviously it's a long journey anyway, but when they're flying to South Korea and Japan, they're huge distances, as we only know from our trips there. But then to have to come back for poor Joe, that was tough for him mentally. But he made the journey, and he was delighted to join up with his national team. He got another cap, so it's, on a personal level, great for him. But yeah, it's tough mentally for those lads that have to travel all that way.
Is it a concern as much as players are well looked after? It's a privilege to play for their countries, that you look at the calendar now, the intensity of the games, the expectation on them. You've 7 games, 22 days now. It's a concern for you how players are having to cope with all this now.
Yeah, I just think the rewards for them are so big. The players love playing for their country, so I don't think that they look at that as a negative. They look at that as a prize, really. So yes, there's a consequence. They have to travel a long way, but I think you ask any football fan, if they were given that opportunity, they'd jump at it. And so I don't see it as a negative. I see it as, yes, we have to look after them then the other way. So we have to understand what they've been through and try and make the right decisions. So we don't, run into trouble with them physically or mentally. And I think we'll have conversations with all the players and try and make the right calls then to what games we involve them in, and if we can ever give them a rest.
Okay, Sean.
One, Eddie. Last month in the press conference before the Wolves game, you spoke about how you shared an excellent working relationship with Dan Ashworth and Richard Hughes. What was it that made that relationship so good for you?
I think, as I said earlier, I think the key word for me is support. You just want to know that you're together as one. You're a team, and I think any team has to all point in the right direction. It's the same for me and the players. When we go into a game, we have to beat it as one. And you're fighting for points every week, and it's the same behind the scenes. You just want to feel that team energy running through the football club, and I think we've had that here. I don't think we would have been successful without it. So it's a case of trying to keep that harmony and make it even better as we move forward together.
And just on the full-back situation, obviously Dan Burns playing a left-back at the minute because Tino and Lewis Hall have got injuries. Harrison Ashby's part of the Premier League squad. Is there any way back in for him? Has he shown anything in training that you think that he could possibly be an option you could use?
Yeah, unfortunately at the moment Harrison's injured, and he's been injured for a period of time with a thigh injury, so we're waiting for him to be fit again.
Okay, Martin. No. Okay, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
See you soon. Cheers.
Nice to see you.
That was not a bad one.
Mr. Eddie Howe.
Yeah, indeed. It's a shame they didn't. Rugby was literally just come in, as I said, talking about the contracts. Obviously, nobody mentioned about the contracts really. I mean, they tipped on it, but nothing really rock solid about trying to nail the contracts down. But it was an interesting one, Win.
Well, he was specifically asked about Tino, Sven, and Tenali contracts, and he said they were being led by Ross, and he was confident that they were imminent in his mind, and he was looking at them.
Yeah,
looking at them all.
Yeah. You know, the only problem with that, he was also confident that Isak was going to stay. Listen, he was in a good mood, which is Eddie's makeup, isn't it?
Well, there's a couple of things that to me have put a few myths to bed. One is he was asked about his previous relationship with Ross Wilson, and he said, "I've known him for a few years, but it's about fleeting hellos."
Yeah.
So no major relationship, and specifically, what was his involvement in the appointment? And he said, well, he was but you know, nothing in real terms.
Yeah, he said he wasn't totally away from the process, but he wasn't involved fully in the process, was he?
Yeah, that's right. So this idea that he actually made the decision is, patent nonsense.
Yeah.
What else did he say about Ross Wilson? He says he's very happy with what he's doing behind the scenes, and he agrees that clubs do need his words, director of football. So this idea that he wants to, all seeing, all dancing command of everything is nonsense. Need a DOF for, in particular, long-term planning.
Exactly. I mean, that's what he was saying about all big organisations now need strong leadership, especially in football clubs. And like he said, there's so much to do, and this was my not argument, but this is what I can't understand with the argument about Eddie Howe being, the one who was leading the way, if you like, to get players in the summer, because there's so much to do. You talk about contracts, you talk about transfers, you talk about putting a team out on the side, your injuries. There's only so many hours in a day for a coach to fill the void. He's reliant on the external bodies to do that work for him, but the one thing for me that stood out in and amongst all that was the fact that, we must work together. We need to make sure we recruit the right players and make sure we have the best systems in place across every level, and you're absolutely right. Him and David are great appointments. And I think, it's about leaderships within those positions, working on a day-to-day basis to put actions in place.
Hello, we've got Brookie in the chat. Baldwin, he knew him. Get a grip. Well, I'm only going not on what Brookie says, but on what the man himself says. And his exact words, where are we?
I mean, like I said,
He said he's known of him for a few years, but just a fleeting hello.
Yeah, and who doesn't know somebody within the football fraternity, if you like? Now they all speak to one another.
I have known, this is a direct quote, I have known Ross for a number of years, but it is a fleeting hello, and you don't get to know them with any depth. He has had various jobs and done really well, and it will be interesting to see how our relationship develops. First impressions are good. He has fitted in well with the players and staff and seems a positive person.
Yeah.
His words. I'll believe his words instead of anything that you believe, Borky.
Yeah. He also confirmed, obviously, Wissa is back on grass and seems to be reacting well to the work. And obviously, they'll step him up gradually. But as for the timeline, nothing has changed. So, again, it's what we mentioned yesterday. And I suppose talking about injuries, the really good news is everybody's back from international duties with very little concern. And the only question mark was about J7, wasn't it?
Yeah. And he said that's nothing, that he's training. They did say that apparently Tenali, we watched that game. I don't remember Tenali getting a knock. Was that the one they played at the same time as? Is that not the one that we watched? The one.
It was the other one
at the same time we played Latvia.
Latvia, yeah, they were at the same time.
They were right, so we didn't watch that one.
We didn't watch that one.
But apparently he got a knock and played on. Well, the fact that he's played on is kind of a good thing.
Yeah, it's probably just a bruise or something,
as Wissa proved. But he said he's not due back till today for some reason.
Yeah, but I mean, like I say, this is the problem with international stuff, isn't it? It's the fact that you don't always get the players straight back, especially if he's having treatment. And I think that could be the reasons for the delay. If he's had a knock while he's got the medical staff there, maybe there was an agreement between all parties, or both parties, I should say, to say, treat him and then make sure he's back for Friday for training. So it's a difficult one, mate, to be fair, because even if it flew back on, was it Tuesday, wasn't it, when we played? If it flew back on Wednesday, he wouldn't have done nothing on Wednesday, and he would have probably had treatments on Thursday to train today. So maybe that's been the rationale behind it. Maybe he flew back yesterday because he spent time there having treatment on this knock or whatever it was. But like I say, it certainly didn't limit his game time.
And he was asked about managing the centre forward position in the light of 7 games in 23 days.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, with regard to, he said, obviously you've got the Anthony Gordon option. Please, no.
I'm going to say, yeah,
please,
exactly.
No. But we'll continue to take it on a game-by-game basis. Willis Sula, who's carrying a knock, has done very well when he steps on the pitch, but he's had a small ankle injury at the minute. But so far, Nick has carried that burden really well.
Yeah.
They were really wanting Nick carrying it for 7 games in 23 days, so that's the only thing.
Well,
then it's a question of priority. I think you've got to be fair, at the minute.
Well, like I said, results. It's a results-driven industry, and that's why all the pressure is on the coach to get the rotation right. Whether it be, maybe not what us as fans want, but it has to be right in the longevity of Newcastle before they can get the complete squad together. So, for me, it's easy for us sat here to critique situations, right? And I always say situational awareness needs to be the forefront of your mindset, if you like. We haven't got the day-to-day pressures of dealing with the players' injuries, workload, and everything else. That's his job. Our job is very, very easy.
If you were to, let's say, prioritise a game or 2 games for Voltemada to be rested, where would you be? Bear in mind, we've got Brighton on Saturday, Benfica on Tuesday, Fulham on Saturday, Spurs in the Carabao next Wednesday.
Yeah.
West Ham away on the 2nd. forget what day that is. 29th, that would be a 30th, 31st, 30th. Oh, is it a Monday? It's 2 o'clock kickoff, so it's a Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
So West Ham on this. So Spurs on the Wednesday. West Ham away on the Sunday. Bilbao at home on the Wednesday, and Brentford away on the 9th on the Sunday.
Yeah.
So in the league, we've got Brighton, Fulham, West Ham, and Brentford. 3 of those away from home. Only Fulham at home. And then we've got Benfica and Bilbao in the Champions League at home, and Spurs in the quarterfinals of the Carabao at home.
Yeah. So if you think about the lower leagues that work in a very similar vein, they have, apart from the international, not internationals, the European competitions, but they have the Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday games, Saturday, and it's continuous, right? With the 40 odd games that they have within the league. So what you have to do and what you have to prepare, and the hardest part to being a coach is the new players sitting and fitting within the system, the system that you are trying to achieve. And that's why with Eddie, and again, you know, as fans, you critique it because it doesn't seem as if he's got a plan B or a plan C or whatever. The game time or the training time between games, because what you have to do, especially when you're limited on positions, and I look at, you know, fullbacks now, you look at centre forwards, and to a degree midfielders. What you look at is, one, who's my best team, and how can I protect them going forward with limited numbers. So you have to rest them or give them light duties during that training period. So as a group, as a whole, what you would do is you would just ease off. So it'd be light work, tactical analysis. So you'd be watching videos of the opposition and working on, you know, the verbal side rather than the physical side. Because what you have to try and do is work on a tactic during a game, and that's why it becomes sometimes it looks as if they are a little bit unsure of what they're supposed to be doing. We've said it before with Elanga. Sometimes it looks like rabbits in headlights, and you can see him trying to process what the gaffer's explained to him during the game. And that's something that you have to look at as a coach. It's a case of during that period of time of rest where I would be on the training field, that's where everybody gets that breather. And we'll do training, but it won't be to the physical extent as if you were doing weekend to weekend work.
I think what I would be looking at doing is, instead of thinking about which games they're going to miss, I would think more about managing maybe minutes on the pitch.
But that's when that's what I said. You have to question what game is the most important.
Well, it depends on what's happening in the game. That's the point.
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. So if you're coming behind,
is if you're a couple of goals up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know.
It depends on, but that also works, like I just said, on the tactical analysis side of things. If you can work a system, I mean, you know, you look at the Liverpool game, we outgunned them for the first 45 minutes completely, but we couldn't score a goal, right? You always know at any point of any game, the opposition are going to have some possession. And as we saw, you know, sometimes it can be just that fluky goal, a deflection or whatever, puts you behind. And it was a couple of really decent plays from Liverpool, puts them 2 goals in front. And, you know, call it for what it is. It was well played to get us back to 2-2. And some people will say, well, we were totally naive not to just sit and wait for the final whistle to go. But again, you know, while the momentum was with you, the lads are up for it. You go and push on and push on. and unfortunately, you come away with absolutely nothing. So you do have to be careful, and you do have to punish teams when you're on the eye, you know. And for me, one of the best goals I've seen under Eddie Howe's tenure so far is the goal against Barcelona. When you talk about a team game, when you talk about a team goal, that momentum, that fluidity that Newcastle presented during that period of play, being a couple of goals down, that ball across then from Murphy to Gordon to squeeze it into the far post, it was the build-up play. And that's what I'm saying. For me, the lads have got it in the locker to punish teams when it's there. Like I said, the problem for me is having the right players in the right areas to make that happen. And we always know, he said about Anthony Gordon going through the middle, there's options. And straight away you go, you know what I mean? Because we know he doesn't give you the option.
When everybody complains about throwing the point away against Liverpool, if we'd got that point against Liverpool, would have been one place up in the table, would have been 10th instead of 11th.
Yeah.
If we'd got the 3 points, which we went for, would have been 5th in the Champions League places. And that's the difference.
That's what I said. That it's a small, it's a very small, a small opinion, if you like. And I'm going to put it as that because you're always going to see the negative side on a loss, but you don't always see
20/20 hindsight.
Yeah, you don't always see what just 1 point gives you anyway, because it's 1 point. There's a massive difference, and that's why we were discussing about the EPL. Not the EPL, the EFL, sorry, the cup competition. And when you got confused about why they do a penalty shootout, it's to give them that extra point so they can separate them within the table. And I've often said, when you look at 1 point away from home is always a good point. Is it? Is it really? Because when you think about it, you've still exerted the same amount of exhaustion, the same amount of effort as if you could do if you went out and won the game. So for me, go and look for the 3 points. And once you've secured the 3 points, then you've got the opportunity to make your changes. So I think there's got to be it's got to be a happy balance. 23 days, 7 games. It is a load. It is a massive load. And if they can come through unscathed as they have done in the previous 20 odd days, with the workload, then great. May it continue. And I think under the guidance of Bunce, we've seen a change in that, and that's what Eddie Howe, like I say, and the rest of the boys have to do. They have to work and wrap them up in cotton wool to a degree.
Yeah. Back to the presser, he's been condemning the press in a way, if you like, saying there's been loads of false information out there about Wissa's injury.
Yeah.
And he says essentially it's exactly the same as the initial prognosis, which was 6 to 8 weeks. Said we were hoping that it would be the 6 weeks. It's now looking like it's going to be the 8 weeks. So that takes it to, the Brentford game. And he said he's back on, as we said yesterday from Craig's article, he's back on grass, and things are looking a bit brighter. As far as the Brighton game itself was concerned, which after all what the presser was about. He said the reporter in question, I forget who it was, asked about the 3 penalties and the point that we got there, and he said, we played very well that day. I can't actually remember. Well, for to be in the position to be awarded 3 penalties, you've got to be doing something right in an attacking sense. So disappointed not to win was his quote. Disappointed not to win, but any point is a good point.
Yeah, I mean, the lads in the chat have all said, the importance will be given by game before, the game before it. If we lose tomorrow, the game against Fulham becomes more important. If we win tomorrow, maybe we can rotate. And that's what Kev said. And then, ironically, he talks about that 1 point gain last year against Brighton with a late Isaac penalty that got us in the Champions League football. So, listen, like I said, you're always going to have those important points towards the latter end of the season. And this is where I think Eddie has always seen from December onwards, you see the difference in our approach to games. Because you can see the results trend. And we put that graph on a few shows ago that showed you the exact trend come around about the December mark, where they get the amount of wins required to get to the position that they want to be in. So the one thing that gets me is the beginning of every season more of a gamble than for Eddie, to go out there and get a result, or is it just unluck? Because to be fair, we've played well, but we just haven't returned with the points.
Well, we didn't. As I say, we didn't have a striker, did we? I'm just laughing at Davy T there. From the Liverpool game, there's nearly more butts than wins ashtray from that Liverpool game.
Yeah. I know, but that's what I said. You can look at every single point, and if you like, say to yourself, well, if, but, and maybe, isn't it? That's what it's all about. It's very small margins when it comes to football.
DM, seize the day.
Seize the day, absolutely. But for me, it's going to be a difficult one. I mean, like I say, the last time we won, I think Daz has just put it, 2016. And that was that Diarme fluke goal that won us the game on that one. So it wasn't a gimme by any chance 10 years ago, or nearly 10 years ago, I should say. Interesting chat though on Dan Burn, your son. And
what a signing he's been.
Yeah, 13 million. He had to swallow hard when he thought he had 30 million because he said, "Hold on, that was a heavy load." So yeah, he's done well. Play in any position, play for the club wherever I tell him, and he'll do his best for him.
Leadership.
Yeah,
Dan will do anything for the team, whatever the team needs. Dan will do his best to deliver it. But he's on the going to full back. It's a big change. The physical demands playing left back is a big shift. As he knew himself from his playing days, there's a slight adjustment to training and the output you give, but you need to do more running. And the bottom line is he's doing really well there. So a lot of people would disagree with that. I don't necessarily, as you know. But
I mean, we're going to go for a few more minutes, but the one thing that got me was the laugh.
That he got his cap, which shows that if you persevere and put the work in, you get your just rewards.
But he was complimentary of all the lads on international duty, wasn't he? I mean, the Anthony Gordon, he talked about Anthony Gordon performing well, and obviously coming to sometimes probably his best form this season. Or for a couple of seasons now. So hopefully that can transfer it across for Newcastle as well. But like you said, the one thing that he said about Dan Burn was the fact that he's a leader. And at the time when we bought him, we were in a relegation battle. It's not, and you have to buy players that want to come to the club, in that situation. And I think people sometimes forget that. And like I said, there's been lots of chat going on where we, while Dan Burns left back, it's like the poison chalice, if you like, and we're always going to be a struggle. But I think sometimes we do forget where we come from.
Thank you. We've just broken the 100 likes, folks.
Thank you ever so much, guys.
Get the like, please. Helps us get it.
Absolutely. I did throw a target out there of the 5 super chats, but I don't think I'll get
algorithms that we always need to be keeping an eye on.
And the other one.
Anthony Gordon, he was saying he's had a good start to the season if you take away the red card and the 3-game ban. He started the season in the centre-forward role and did really well. Well, I think that's debatable, but his performances have been good. And he's carried that form into England and did really well for his national side. which indeed he did. Man of the match on Tuesday.
Yeah. What did you get the? I got lost a little bit when they were talking about the Joe Willock story because I haven't seen that.
What,
did
you haven't seen that he got lost in the maze?
No,
And had to be rescued.
I hadn't seen that at all. So I was a
Oh,
bit.
yeah.
What are you on about? And it's like he said. I did check with Joe about the viral story. He got lost in the York Maze story. Actually, if it was true, I think Joe is fine about it. He can laugh at himself at times. So I think, like I say, I didn't know anything about it. So I was a little bit of a question. David T's asking, is Santa real?
Santa is really saying, dearie T.
Yeah,
Thanks for
absolutely.
the 199.
Thanks, dude. So what was your thoughts on that then?
Well, I just thought it was crackers, you know. Having said that, I mean, I've never been there. When the story broke, I had a quick look on Google Earth.
It's a full story, isn't it?
Say again, sorry?
Isn't it a full story, though? It didn't happen. I think people have just made it up.
No,
that's what he
did
was
happen.
saying. No, they said it was an actual. It was fake. Even people in the chat, Chris has just said, "Look, it's a full story. It didn't happen," and that's why he had to ask Joe Willock, because apparently a lot of the story it was, and I've just seen on there, it's a fake story. So somebody, that's why he asked.
Joe was fine about there having been a story.
Story, yeah, exactly. So it was totally fake.
I thought he was saying Joe Willock was fine, that, you know, and he was having a laugh at himself. Yes.
Because that's why he went back to Joe.
Story.
Yeah, he went to Joe to ask him if it was
says,
real.
I did check with Joe Willock about the viral story that he got lost in York Maze.
Yeah.
Actually, just to check if it was true. And he said, I think Joe's fine about it. He can laugh at himself.
Yeah, but it was a fake story.
That to me was well, they say that to me was confirming that it was true.
But that's why I was scratching my head, because I hadn't seen anything. And I'm thinking, what's this all about?
The story was all over.
Ah, right. I hadn't seen that at all.
I went on to Google Earth and had a look at the maze, and it's absolutely massive, you know.
Yeah. Just looking at the again, some reports that have come out. This is Dominic Skur has obviously come out and said that Lewis Miley is expected to be part of the team to face Brighton the weekend. So it looks like he's come through his calf strain quite comfortably.
He didn't even get a mention, did he, in the press?
No, but obviously this is come post, you know, when they have
this is the press pack.
Exactly. So it's just been reported now that he has come out of it and should be involved in the team. So there you go.
So that's it, isn't it? I think that's all done.
Right, good. So the only real other thing I was going to ask you, like I say, all the injuries was Eddie Howe was asked some crazy questions though, wasn't he? Louise again about the. I mean, come on.
Well, there was actually Craig Hope was stuck in there, and he said, "What?" I think it was Craig Hope who said, "You know." A year ago, it was Craig Hope. A year ago, you were a pretty unhappy bunny at the way things had been going on with DOF, you know, and another DOF has bitten the dust, and then he had a laugh about that and says, yeah, I kind of seem to see these DOFs off, don't I? So he had a laugh about that, but he said the main thing is to keep harmony. He says, we've got where we are today by keeping harmony within the group. The famous group.
Yeah.
So that was, he laughed off the...
Yeah, I've just been sent the clip of the Willock. It's by that Francis Chip guy who makes all the stuff up. So if I'd have seen it was from him from the original thing with Willock, I'd have known it was BS.
I mean, Francis Chip means nothing to me.
I know, but he does a lot of this stuff, completely made up stories, to be fair. So there you go then. Thank you all so much for joining us today on the presser. And like I say, we'll be back with you tomorrow, 2:00, with the live watch along against Brighton. So those who haven't put the predictions in, don't forget, do it before kickoff, else it will not be registered. So
thank you, Davey T, for reminding all the kids that might be watching that Santa is real.
Indeed. And Chris is saying it's going to be clipped by someone now. I don't know what you're on about. This is going to be clipped by someone, lol. That was obviously the Willock story, I think. Well, anyway, will it be clipped or won't it be clipped? Stay tuned. Anyway, thank you all. Yeah, exactly. The suspense is killing me. We'll see you on the next one. Goodbye from him.
Away the lads. Goodbye from him.
Lassies and the Burns. Take care. Ciao for now. Have a lovely afternoon, everybody.
Yep. Ta-da.